Hello and welcome to Fully Charged EU. This is an award show special here on Team Fortress TV. I think we don't have any live cams, and that's a little bit disappointing, but seemed to be a bit of a mix-up in expectations between me and Huhy. He is our cameraman, producer tonight. Also, we've got Ips and kaidus here. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hello.
I am Admirable, the former Premiership ambassador. Dagger to my heart there. But let's get things underway. The Season 16 ETF2L Awards were nominated by Premiership players, so they sort of decided to vote who was going to be put up for the public vote. And the votes are in. Sunny Black has sent me the spreadsheet, and guess I'm not entirely sure what way to approach this. We did say off air that player of the season is probably the big one, so we'll leave that to the end. But any thoughts on where you want to start off, Ips and kaidus?
Medic of the season?
Medic of the season. All right, then. First up, I'll ask you in turn who you voted for. Ips.
I voted for Raymond.
kaidus.
I
didn't vote for anyone because I wasn't asked for my vote. But
should we
But I
talk
mean,
about
on
our
the
votes?
site, in the actual vote, not just for the nominations.
I think I voted for Two Nuts because he's my boy. But if I'd had to nominate, then it would have been a tough one.
Tell me why, Ips.
I have that for, if you're gonna ask me who's the pocket of the season, demo of the season, I voted for the Epsilon players this season again. Just for the sheer fact that I didn't think that anyone topped them or bested them in their class throughout the season. And Raymond, you can argue that for him coming into Premiership and being the medic for the best, so supposedly best team in the world, is a pretty easy task. But I played a bit with him when I played some scrims with Epsilon, and he's actually a really good caller and a really good medic as well. So I think he just deserved that. I didn't see him slip as much as I saw other medics slipping, but then again, that's also affected by him playing in the best team. But I think it would also be just unfair to say, okay, you're in the best team and therefore you're getting carried a lot or whatever, and you're not the best in your class at the moment in Europe. But I felt that he clearly is in comparison to the others.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna probably give away most of my votes here by saying that in the comments I said if you're not voting for Epsilon players, you're doing it wrong. Although I did vote for kaidus. Spoiler, but I did vote for Raymond for medic of the season. I mean, I didn't think there was that much between the medics, so like the guy who comes in his debut and wins it would have taken my vote, but you're going to be surprised by the results. I'm checking it out right now. I've just opened the tab and it is Two Nuts up there with 51% of the vote. Max Erde, too popular in Europe. He's going to take it. We had Raymond in second with 32%. And Boule, sorry, never pronounced that one right, with 15% in there at third. What do you think of that, Ips?
I don't know. I said that before. They clearly one medic above him, and it's like a public vote, so it's obvious that the guy that streams and the guy that is more available and accessible to the public will be more, I don't know, more cheered for in the end, and he's also the underdog in that regard, in that comparison. So I guess that's what works into his favor, because it's definitely not his skill.
Well, no, that's, I think that's harsh. Like, you have to take into account that his job is a lot harder than Raymond's. Like, I know that Raymond doesn't have it like as easy as some people might say, but ultimately, if you're medic against Epsilon, it's like the hardest job in the game, probably playing medic against Epsilon. So I don't know. It's like it's quite hard to compare because like Epsilon was so dominant this season as a medic. Like theoretically, I think they could have had another medic, and they still would have won. Like so.
But yeah.
So I think I'm not saying necessarily that he shouldn't have won. Just that like I can see why people would have voted not for him.
Yes, of course. It's of course. That's what I said. That's what I've said. That's what I said in the beginning as well. With why giving Raymond a nomination in the first place, it leaves a bit of sweet taste because you're always cheering for the guy that actually has to struggle winning. But then again, I think it's just theory crafting to say with a different medic they would have played exactly as good because I don't know, that guy played good as well.
No, I'm not saying they play exactly as good. It's just it's hard to look good against Epsilon, like for anyone. I think you have to judge them on different things, kind of, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but can you
Like,
say that he is you played with him this season, and would you say that he was the best medic in the season?
I don't know what I would say actually. I probably wouldn't, but I also don't know who I'd say would, because I wasn't really that impressed by any medics this season.
I guess.
Like, it was a pretty, I don't know, it often seems this way with medics. Like, we were kind of gifted the last few seasons when you had like Mirror and Nox in the equation, but the medic pool is not as good as it once was, so it's a weird one this time.
Yeah. Well, and the quality after Tunas, let's say if the ranking in the season was Raymond, Tunas, and then afterwards there was a while like nothing, like even the medics on the third place or second. Who was medic third place? That was Byte actually, and Byte is not nominated and voted for. But say fourth place, fifth place, they're all not on the level that the first and the second one was on. I felt like so.
Something I want to touch on there, just like noticing that Byte didn't get nominated. I mean, like you're talking about previous medic winners there, or nominees, Nox and Mirrorlin, and they're sort of like the two poles. One that was like incredible mechanics, the Mirrorlin is dodge and all that stuff, and Nox was an incredible leader. Now you have Byte in there, he's like leading a team into the playoffs that a lot of people didn't rate, and he is making mistakes, or getting called out at least a lot for mistakes this season. But like, are Two Nuts, Raymond and Bull like really better medics than Byte? Is there that much in it?
No,
but I think their performances were better this season. From what people could see, like watching, their performances definitely looked better.
Yeah.
I was surprised Byte wasn't like at least the third nomination. Like, I can't say I saw Desert play that much this season, but.
And then again, we talked like for Byte, it's again the same thing that applied for Tunas applies for Byte as well. I think that he has a much harder job making himself and his team look good if he plays with such a roster, and also 4 of the members screaming at them every night. You know what I mean? Like, it's his attitude and it's his way of doing things, and we've talked about this in the past, but imagine these streams not happening, like all this stuff is not getting recorded and people wouldn't have the chance to even talk about it. I think it would have been a lot different. It's like this all comes down to good PR as well a bit, if you know what I mean. Like Tunas had this little stream and he was a likable medic and a likable guy and still is, so he's just consistently more likable than Byte.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't his stream it never really had that good viewership, right? Like, I don't really know because I was always playing at the same time, but the impression I got from what he said was it was never that well viewed.
It had a lot of views where after the Infused Fallout, when you guys were forming the new roster, because people were obviously interested in, and then that hold on for like a month or so. That he was like around 80 viewers, I would say. But it doesn't matter. It's like 80 viewers that see him having fun with you, while 200 viewers combined see Byte and his boys not having fun together, you know?
Well, yeah, but I
at
mean,
least
shouldn't, like, you say, like, Byte has this negative PR for his attitude, but I don't know, if Nox got so much, like, credit for how well he led his team, then shouldn't Byte get, like, anti-credit for how kind of badly he treated his team at times?
I guess, yeah.
Like, it seems fair. Like, I mean, I probably think he should have been in there anyway, but because it was, like, a hard job for him, but, like, I don't know. If Nox gets credit for that, then I think Byte gets points taken away for it.
I mean, you can definitely see how Byte's game has suffered, because like I remember it must have been like the last Nations Cup, the one before, where he was like playing insane as medic, had some great games, and then when he came back trying to lead this team, he seems to be throwing a few more clangers in there, and that's sad to see. And I guess there is all this stream drama. One thing I want to ask you guys though is just about the sort of categories themselves. You know, we've got the classes and then player of the season, blah blah blah. But would there have been an opportunity there for ETF2L to say bring in like a player stream of the season? Like, you're saying this is a popularity contest. There's any way to sort of like take that to its obvious conclusion and say, oh, who's the most loved player, or like who does the most for the scene in that sense?
Yeah, that probably would make sense. Like, because I guess, I don't know if it would make much difference, but at least gives an opportunity for, like, it's like an outlet for people who want to vote based on that.
Don't think it's going to change anything, really. I think it's still going to be exactly the same. People, like, if they vote Tuna's, like, most likable streaming medic of the season, they will most likely also like to vote him best performing medic of the season in the end. you know.
Sure, I guess. But would it be a worthy category anyway, just for the hell of it,
I guess.
to promote streaming?
Yeah, I guess that's a good cause. Like, just promote the streaming as well. But I think the people that are streaming at the moment are the ones that can actually stream. I think with all the guides and the how-to things online, the people that can stream are streaming, and the ones that can't aren't. You know what I mean? Like, I can't stream, but I would.
I don't know about that. That's
No,
right.
don't think
That's
so?
right. That's right for some people like you, maybe. But I think there's a lot of people who can. It depends what you say can stream, because like I can stream. It has a significant impact on my game, even with a new computer. Like TF2 is just a shitty game for streaming. It's like I do stream just because like people want to see it, and in PCWs it doesn't really matter that much. I think there's a lot of people who are like me, and they just don't, because I can see what they're doing. It can be annoying at times. Like maybe like I always feel like I play a lot worse when I stream, just because it's in my head that I'm streaming and like all this stuff. So I don't know. I think it's worth giving credit to that, maybe, but I'm just saying not everyone streams who probably could.
Yeah.
Just an interesting aside there to that Medic Award. Obviously, I said 2Nuts took it with a 50% margin there, or 51%, but Sonny has updated the spreadsheet I'm looking at right now to show me the nominations as well, and Raymond got the most nominations with 7, 2Nuts with 6, and Rule with 5.
So that's an indicator that Premiership basically is rating the stuff a bit different than the rest of the league does in the end. Right?
Yeah, that is interesting to note. Just on that topic, I was going off on a tangent. I'll go back to that again, but this idea of what other categories there could be, like there's certain people I've seen working hard, like casters get put in the spotlight, they've got their own award, but like Gentleman John put out a great series of articles this season. Then you had like Phoenix, who stepped up and started streaming their games as well from Div 1. I mean, we used to have a Community of the Season award. It seems to be gone now. I know that was something we complained about when we were in Crack Cleanups, when we were putting in all that time and effort, but are those missed? Does anybody care about that stuff? Do these people not need recognition?
I think they need recognition, and it would be cool to just put it in there. I mean, we're doing semi-pointless awards anyway, if you ask me, so if we can just give people credit for what they're doing anyhow, like, it's no big deal to just put a streamer award up there, or like a newswriter award or whatever, because that's the thing that we're like, the incentive for the people that are doing these kind of content creation things is really missing. Like, they're really just doing it for people in the comment section telling them that they did a good job. So if they get like a little award after the season, it would be cool to just be worthwhile, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I should mention Blackout John as well. He cast a countless number of games for teamfortress.tv and Blackout, but there are definitely some unsung heroes out there. But anyway, let's jump on to the next award. We'll do another class one. I'll give you the choice, Kaidus. You want to know if you won that Demo Man award or not?
Huh? Was that a choice?
I'll let you pick the next one.
Oh.
You want me to put you out of your misery?
No, I'd probably rather go to Soldier next.
Alright, we're going to go Pocket. And again, I'll ask you who you nominated, or who you actually voted for, and why. Kaidus, tell me.
I don't remember who I voted for, but who was the 3 nominees?
Open up ETF2L, goddammit.
Mike Knox, someone else.
Tech.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I voted for Mike then.
Right. Same for me. I nominated Mike and I voted Mike.
Yeah, Mike is and has been the best soldier in the world for quite a long time, so even though Knox put in some very good performances, there's no competition for me on this one.
Same.
Yeah, I voted for Mike too, and I'll just tell you that he did storm into the lead here with a 61%.
That's still
victory.
Not as many as I would have expected to be fair.
He had 24 of the nominations from a possible 34 in from the Prem players. Knox was in there with 4 nominations, and Tech with 2. And the way the voting panned out, the public vote, Knox got 28% and Tech with 10%. So Knox getting at least a sizable chunk of the vote there. But Legend of Mike is just a hard one to shake off.
I think probably Mike would have got more votes if he hadn't been the best soldier for so long. I think people get kind of tired of voting for the same person over and over again. But in this case, I think it's just deserved.
I see Knox in the chat there saying he put it for Mike too. Well, let's jump into the next soldier spot then. We'll go back to back soldier here, and I'll ask you, who did you vote for on Roamer, Ips?
Gear. Just same thing, really. Not too fancy play style, but very consistent, and throughout the season, I didn't see him slip too much against. It was against Willy Wonka's on process, if I'm not mistaken. They actually played a lot against him and Bash on the flank, like a lot of Ubers of Willy Wonka's would just go into him and Bash, and in the end they managed to crack that strategy by
Oh, you're just breaking up a little bit for me there. Is that just me, or?
No, it's for me as well.
That long story short, Ips loves gear. Kaidus, who did you vote
playing
for?
as far forward in the flank, you would say, and I think I really
Oh wow, he's lagging like a mofo.
think that he has a granted solid performance throughout the last year, basically 1.5 years.
Jesus, Ips is like kicking with me through time and space. But Kaidus, tell me, who did you vote for?
I think I voted for Gear as well. I don't really think he played his best season this season, but probably the fact that they barely played has something to do with that. But again, Gear was very good. I don't know though. I felt like when we played them, Gear was always the pick that we seemed to be able to get against Epsilon. I remember on Metalwork specifically. But again, it's kind of this Epsy thing. It's just like head and shoulders above the rest. Like I think Rising definitely deserved a shout on that one. Maybe not this season. Maybe he's one for seasons to come. But yeah, it's Gear.
Guys, am I still lagging?
I hear you now, Ips. But let me know if you hear me.
Oh wow, I hear you.
Yeah, the nominees were of course Rising, Forsaken, and Gear, and as it turns out, Gear did win that one. Yep, Epsilon Too Strong took it with 50% of the vote, and also had 48% of the nominations. Oh, Sonny's giving me percentages now too. Forsaken was second with 29% of the vote, and Rising in there on third with 19% of the vote. But Rising actually got 3 more nominations than Forsaken did from his Premiership cohort, so that's interesting to note. But Gear hard to beat on that Roamer spot, it seems.
I think like there's a lot of comparisons you can kind of draw between Rising and Gear. Like I think Rising plays this very like kind of unglamorous Roamer style as well, whereas Forsaken kind of he makes more plays and things like that. Kind of the stuff that viewers like to see.
Very, very double-edged sword play style of not being able to defend last on Gully Wash against the spy capping behind him and stuff like this. Wouldn't happen to Rising. Wouldn't happen to a Rising, because Rising would be sitting on that point, not on top of it.
And you might have a reaction time of above 5 seconds or below 5 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Forsaken is best when going forward. He's like, I've been impressed by just his aggressive plays, but maybe he's not the most thoughtful roaming soldier. But jumping on to the next award, and I'm going to pick this one. We're going to go straight in for Scout of the Season. The nominees were Kyler, Bash, and Stefan, if I remember correctly. I'm going to open it up now. Oh, tell me, Ips, who did you nominate and why? Or who did you vote for and why?
Sorry?
Scout,
Bash. Because Stefan said Bash deserves this more than him, and it was either one of the two, and I just felt like Bash pretends to not care a lot about the game, but he still cares a bit more than Stefan, and he just played a tap better than him. But I think Stefan will get it anyway. Like, Stefan has built up this huge fan base behind him over the last 2 years that I think he will just get the award.
Kaidus, tell me your thoughts.
I don't even know, man. Definitely vote for one of those two, but it's just like a toss-up. Like when you play against them, you don't have a moment to even work out which one's which. So yeah, I think I probably vote for Bash just because Stefan always seems to win it. But it's like, yeah, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. It could have been either. The best scout duo, should just say that.
Yeah, well, I voted for Bash because, Stefan always gets the credit. So that was just me being wicked, I guess. But he did play well. I can, just before I announce the results, I can let you know that Droso got 0 nominations. Because, I'm a big bully.
Wow. Well, even from his own team, that's something. Well, they were
I don't think
always
you can
bashing on
nominate
him,
people
right?
in your own team.
Now you can. Like, that happened a lot. You would be surprised.
Oh.
Don't think you're supposed to, though, are you?
Let me tell you the result anyway. Interestingly, it was Stefan who took it with 50% of the vote. Pretty unanimous. Bash on 29 and Kyler on 20. Bash actually had 12 nominations while Stefan had 10. So I guess there was a feeling in the Prem that Bash edged it this season. Kyler in there with 3 nominations. But Stefan again coming out as the people's favourite. What do you think about that?
Well, obvious.
Predictable.
Very predictable.
But why doesn't Bash get the credit?
Because for the last 3 seasons, when these awards happened, Stefan would rename himself to "Please vote for me" and spam everyone in his friends list. So that is just stuck within people. Like, I don't know. He's just a more outspoken guy out of the 2, I guess. He's more around in the community. It's very little that they're even around, but out of the 2, I guess he's the more known.
Like, Stefan has by far the biggest reputation, and they're so neck and neck that I guess that just swings it in his favour. Because, there really isn't that much in it, so it just comes down to the extra factors.
To the PR, again.
Is it anything to do with their play style or the roles they've taken in Epsilon?
It's the same. They obviously have different roles, but
should they split the scout awards? Should there be like aggressive scout, passive scout that you got pocket rumor, or is it not that much of a
best scout combo of the century awards, and then give it away once?
I think Stefan definitely is a bit more flashy in the way that he plays, like just because of people always recognize his movement in that thing, like not necessarily because Bash doesn't have as good movement, but just because of the way it's utilized in their roles, so it comes out more flashy.
If you remember, Stefan also had this hype around him like 1.5 years, 2 years ago, where he would like come out of the woodwork and be like one of the strongest scouts all of the sudden, and people would praise his movement and whatever. While did Bash ever have that? I don't know. Maybe it happened before my time, but he definitely didn't have it when the streaming thing got bigger and bigger, that people would be on Bash's point of view during casts all night long and stuff like this.
Bash was quite a slow progression to the top. Like he was in Div, like what was Div 1 for quite a long time. It was weird actually, because like I never rated Bash before. Like when he was a Div 1, Div 2 scout, I never like looked at him and thought he'd be the best scout in the game one day. But then like bit by bit he kind of climbed up, and then there he is.
Yeah. So I guess this explosion of talent in Stefan, while the streams were getting bigger and bigger and more attention could be or people could focus easily on the performance of separate players, just helped him now to secure him this spot as the one and only scout in Europe for a while.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying. Like a few seasons ago, like a good few seasons ago, he turned a lot of heads, and I guess he still has people's attention, but he will be our winner for season 16, and that's going to be another medal to a serious haul. We'll check out the medal counts, the awards history at the end. But we will jump now to off-classer of the season. We'll keep kaidus sweating here. And I'll tell you that the nominees were Walters, Zebo, and Flippy. Tell me, Ips, who did you vote for and why?
I don't think I nominated anyone or voted for anyone. I know that was a game between Willy Wonkus and Cause We Can, I think, in which Walter sniped a lot, or Walter sniped against some other team, and therefore a lot of people wanted to vote him for Bass off class, but I really didn't grasp that much of the games happening throughout the season to be able to say, okay, who's off classer.
I thought you were going to lag on me again there. Sorry. kaidus, tell me who you nominated or who you voted for and why. God damn it.
I voted for Zebasai because I don't know. I don't think it's very often that off-classing actually makes or breaks games. Like it can make or break rounds and things like that. But on in our games against TSE on Viaduct, like it wasn't because of him that we won, but it made a huge difference though, because of the way we played like with the sniper, and without like having a good sniper it wouldn't have worked. So I think like his off-classing made the biggest contribution to any team, even if it was for kind of strange reasons. But like I don't really think Walters or Flippy really had any impact. Like by off-classing, they might have hit some nice shots and like won some rounds, but with Zebasai on Sniper, like we could completely win a map just based on playing around that. So that's why I voted for Zebasai.
But
Yeah, who did I vote for? I'm just checking. Oh, I actually voted for Flippy because, you know, I just cast a Highlander game where he domed a lot of people, which is totally unrelated, but
Brilliant.
one of the two is going to get it.
That I can tell you that this was the closest award in terms of you know, votes. Came right down to the wire. Only a 1 vote separating first and second place, and I can tell you that with 367 votes and 43.23% of the vote, Flippy will be your off-classer of season 16. Zebasai 1 vote behind him. On 366, and Walter's way down there with 13% of the vote, but those two split like 85% of the vote between them, I guess, or just over that. And in terms of nominations, Walter's had 9, Flippy had 8, and Zebo had 6. So the Prem not necessarily respecting Zebasai's off-classing ability, and he just got edged out there by the smallest of margins. Reactions, please.
Well, it's like I said, like Zebasai off-classing, it wasn't maybe as flashy at times. Like he definitely hit some crazy shots this season, but maybe not as many. But like in terms of actually contributing to your team by off-classing, I think this is an unjustified result. Unjustified.
Ips, how does that make you feel? Oh, Ips has left the channel and mum, a great time in there. I guess we'll never know what Ips thinks.
Maybe that's what he thinks.
Yeah, I mean, the way Zebasai played Scout this season was almost like an off-class, always going behind, looking for picks and stuff. He definitely, he seemed to be playing sort of just like a freestyle, doing whatever he wanted, and sniping at random times as well. And he wasn't always that successful. So I suppose I've got a bias against Zebasai, is what I'm saying here, and that's why I didn't vote for him. But
well, maybe on the flip side, it's like I don't know. Maybe the reason I vote for him, I didn't even notice when he was off class because he was dead if he wasn't off class. So when he was off class, it meant we actually had 6 alive for an extended period of time. So maybe I've swung by that a bit.
Ips has rejoined us here. We were just asking you for your thoughts on the off-classer of the season award result there. It was, did you catch it, Ips? Oh wow, he's unable to communicate with us here. Oh, here he is. Ips. Dead air is great for live casting. Let's move on. Maybe Ips will be able to sort out his technical problems at some time before the end of the show, but we're going to jump in to that Demo Man of the Season award. And Kaidus, I'm quite interested to know, who did you vote for and why?
I voted for Numlocked because I think it's a bit cheap to vote for yourself, and Numlocked is an Epsilon who should all win by default. But at the risk of seeming biased, maybe, I think of all the Epsi players, I think Numlocked was definitely like I really didn't feel him having this. Maybe it's because they were so dominant he didn't need to, but I didn't feel like he was having that strong an impact on the result. I felt like it was coming from other areas of the team, but it's just this whole Epsi thing. Like there's no reason to vote for anyone other than Epsilon players. But I was surprised that the War wasn't even in the nominations. Like I don't think he should have won it, but he should have been in the top 3 probably. Like Brago was a good shout, but I don't remember him ever really performing in the big games. Like his team came bottom of Prem, so I think if you have a Demo Man of the Season on your team, you should probably do better than bottom of Prem, because the Demo Man can make that bigger difference. Like in the lower areas of Prem where it's less coordinated and individual skill comes more into it. So I don't know. I kind of would have had War in there over Brago probably this season. But yeah.
Yeah, I voted for Kaidus. Just because you've got more pizzazz than Numlocked, you know. I like the story of Kaidus better that I like the story of Numlocked, and something you touched on there, I guess, that Numlocked gets bashed on a lot or gets sort of strung up publicly as the weakest player of Epsilon and blah blah blah. But he takes a lot of stick, and I guess that.
So it's okay. I was going to say I don't think he traditionally has been the weakest player on Epsilon. I just think this season in particular, like because I don't know, he seems to be one of those players who, when they don't play very often, they decline faster than others. Like some people can play once a month and be amazing. I think he's one of those players who kind of needs like a regular schedule to be at the peak of his game. Like I-49, like he was amazing because he played a lot leading up to it. But like when he doesn't play that much, he tends to fall off. And plus, I think Demo is one of the classes that like in these awards is consistently like reasonably well contested. Like Soldier is always dominated by Mike, and Scout is always dominated by the German since Cookie doesn't play anymore, and Medic is always just like laughable mostly. But I think Demo is just like one that remains quite well contested for some reason. There's always seems to be a couple of good demos around.
Yeah, Eps, are you with us in the land of the living?
Tell me
about your. Who did you vote for? Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Who did you vote for Demo Man of the season?
I voted for Numlock. Because, and I know that he's not going to take it the wrong way, because we talked about this for ages online at nights, is that I just didn't feel that kaidus, in the concept that his team was playing, he could not play his playstyle at all. Like he was sort of drifting into a Numlock-esque role, if you want to say. Yeah, always with the pocket and really just securing areas, and he didn't play like this for the last 4 years that I've seen him play, and it was just really boring to see. And I know that he also didn't like it, so I felt he did not perform his strongest, and therefore I couldn't vote for him. I also felt that Numlock, even though he might not performed as good as others, he was definitely, and he is definitely, the part in Epsilon that keeps them carrying and keeps them, like, he adjusts the little stuff that makes them lose a couple of rounds against teams when suddenly the flank breaks into pieces or whatever, you know? Like, he sees that as a problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. And just to touch on something you said a second ago, I definitely agree with what you said about my play this season. It definitely isn't how I like to play, but just to defend myself a bit, I feel like I could have performed better even in this really like kind of boring role if we had a more serious approach, like in a more like committed like style of practice. Like I felt like I could have played like that, but when you're playing like a really boring way and like a way you don't particularly enjoy, and the team isn't really committed to winning and they're just kind of like seeing the season through, it's like that play style for me would have required like a lot of like motivation and all that stuff. Like I just kind of drift out.
Yeah, you would have to you feel like motivating half of your team then, and it just becomes really dry.
Yeah, indeed.
So yeah, that's why I voted Numlock, because I think he's just they played so little and they wanted to play so little that he was the guy giving them the spirit to still go through all this, and he's still the one that keeps them now together until ESEA is finished. So I think that's maybe more of a leadership or a leader thing than a demoman thing, but I think that for him that's his skill set, that is his demoman skill set, that he has great insight into the game, and he's a great great caller, leader, whatever you want to call it. Not necessarily like the super technical guy, always the fastest or whatever, but he makes it work for himself and for his team for tons of seasons now, and I think that makes him the best.
Yeah, I sort of agree with you there, but like I say, I did vote for kaidus. I was sort of disheartened in a way because I knew it was the last season for Epsilon, and Numlock had sort of losing his interest. He was playing a lot of League of Legends, so it was probably slightly another bizarre reason for me to choose one demo man over the other. But I did vote kaidus, and so did the public with 47% of the vote. He will be your season 16 demo man of the season. Numlocked just behind him there on 41%, and Brigo way back there on 10%. But in terms of the nominations, just to take the wind out of your sails there, kaidus, Numlock got 15 nominations, you got 8, and Brigo got 5. So I guess your peers or your opposition still think Numlock is better, but the people love you. How does that feel, man?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. That's nice. I mean, I don't disagree with the nominations particularly. I mean, like Numlock probably should have won, but I think of all the awards for an Epsilon person not to win, this one maybe makes the most sense, but maybe that's just me.
The medic one wouldn't have that. The medic one is the arguable one. Like, you know what I mean? Like we can. I feel like okay, we can argue about Raymond having an easy job or whatever, but I feel that Numlock still outplays everyone around him. Like you can obviously you rate yourself higher than him and you whatever, but not the season. I didn't see it that season, and I watched the season from most of the time from an outside's perspective, and it really felt like with the way you had to play and the way he kept his team going and still carrying, I just felt like giving him that award. I don't know, and I'm also very surprised that War isn't in any nominations because I mean Brigo on third while Brigo's playing like in Course We Can and are they the bottom?
I can tell you. Hildreth got 2 nominations, Heist got 2, War got 1, and Exxon got 1. So he did manage to get 1 nomination, but didn't make the top 3 for the public vote.
Okay. Yeah, that's really surprising that Brigo got into there. Not to discredit Brigo in any way, but I felt that where a lot of them was in between him and the guys that are nominated at the moment, the 1 and 2.
I think maybe it's his negative PR thing again. Like historically, people always seem to want like Byte's team to lose. Like he's just like the pantomime villain of TF2. So like all of his cohorts tend to like go down the well with him in terms of their reputation. It was like I remember playing in TCM with Byte, and I look back on those times fondly, to be honest. But at the time, like even my closest friends would be like, "I really want you to lose because I hate Byte." And I think kind of that could have contributed towards like unfavorable nominations and votes. Well, not even votes actually, just the nominations.
Yeah, I feel a bit, I don't know, not conflicted or guilty, but I know I always push on Numlock in the cast just like because his rollouts can be terribly slow and stuff like that, but it's almost like an in-joke. I don't really think he's a bad demo man, but kaidus has won the award. The public have spoken, and we will be moving on to the next one. I guess we could go for Premiership Debut, and I'll tell you the nominees were Raymond, Flip, and Rising. Did you guys vote for that one? Why did you vote? kaidus, take it away.
What is this? The debut?
Yeah.
I think I don't even think I voted on this one actually, but like I would have voted for Rising, to be honest. Like I think Rising is a player who probably could be one of the best roamers if he stays like in the game long enough. And Flip, I don't know. Flip is playing with Byte, so screw him. And who was the other one? Sorry, Raymond. I don't know. I find it hard to vote for Raymond because it seemed I don't think he's a bad medic. I think he did very good, and it would be quite close between him and Rising for me. But I felt like if I wanted to give credit to someone who like kind of legitimately came into Prem for the first time, it would be Rising, because like it's a lot easier to come into Prem when you have someone like Numlock calling for you and someone like Mike pocketing you than it is like when your medic is like
freelance and your pocket is Nox.
Huh?
I didn't say anything. Go on, sorry.
You firing shots there, Ibs?
No, I didn't. I voted for Rising, by the way, completely biased because I played with him. I didn't know who to vote for, so I voted for him.
You were mentoring him a little bit, I guess.
Hardly.
Does he feel like a son to you?
No, but he's still better than Kla.
I voted for Raymond in the same logic that I used whenever I voted for Mitzi for Premiership Debut of the season, because he came in and he won the gold, you know. That's all I have to say on that. I don't have any personal attachment to any of the 3 players, but he came in on a debut season and won the title, okay?
Can I ask you a question quickly?
Yeah.
Of all the medics in Prem this season, if you traded Raymond for any one of them, is there anyone that you could pick out and say you don't think Epsilon would have been anywhere near as dominant if they'd had that medic instead of Raymond?
Byte. But not for him being a bad medic, just because it probably would have crushed their souls. Nah, it probably would have worked well with Numlock, actually. It says bar.
But just drops übercharges when the crits that are coming in are called just to go for crossbow air shots. Hello? Numlock would have had his fucking blast with Bar. Like, Bar's awesome, I love him. I'm just joking. Any medic would have made it, it's true. Like, your statement is completely true. I see your point now.
It's like it seems like I'm trying to discredit Raymond. I do actually think he's a very good medic, but I just find it really hard to be impressed by what he did this season, because I think I don't want to go as far as to say anyone could have done it, but I think a lot of people could have done it.
Yeah, like it definitely wasn't a flawless season from him or anything. Particularly on Viaduct, he seemed a little bit shaky, but just strictly for this award, not going into medic of the season. And you know my logic, you can't beat it, man. He debuted and he won.
So who won it? He won it.
No, but in terms of the actual public vote, then it is going to be a little bit of a shocker here. I saw Sam saying if Rising doesn't win this,
it's going to be someone else. It's going to be like
number one is FL1P. It's Flip from France. He took it with 38% of the vote. You're going to have Raymond in number 2 with 33% and Rising in 3rd. And for the nominations, Flip was actually top of the nominations as well with 12, Rising on 10, and Raymond on 4. So he only just about got into that top 3 because Zub was right behind him with 3 nominations.
Where did Zub play?
Wow,
I don't even know Zub played.
You are a rude guy. But
kaidus, where did Zub play?
Where did Zub play?
Yeah, this season.
What do you mean, where did he play?
What team?
Deserto.
Oh yeah, they were a Premiership team with Sideshow. Oh wow. Okay. And yeah, he played really good against you on Gully Watch. Now I remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Zub's one of their stronger players, probably.
Ips is going to find all his logs.tf stats.
Yeah, okay, I see my point. Oh, sorry.
Divide it by a factor of 10. But yep, that's how the results came in. Nobody really mentioned Flip in our discussion prior to the announcement. What do you think about that one? How do you feel Flip played this season?
Yeah, he was okay. He was decent.
Just okay.
Like, I don't know.
Let me read out the everyone that actually got a nomination. Slate, huhy, Sheepy, Bar, Sideshow, Nadir all got 1 nomination. Then Zub with 3, and then the top 3 there, as mentioned. Did any of those players stand out more for you?
Say it again. Sorry, a little slower.
Slate, huhy,
Nope.
Sheepy,
Nope.
Bar,
Maybe.
Sideshow,
Nope.
Nadir,
Probably not. No, didn't see enough of him.
and Zub.
Probably not. I don't know. Like, it's weird that Flip won. I don't find it weird that he's nominated, but when I compare him to Rising and Raymond, they both strike me as like, if they wanted to and they like have the desire, they could be the best at their class in the game in a couple of seasons. But I don't think of Flip in the same light. So it's a strange one.
That's interesting. Maybe it's just the bite factor again that's clouding your judgment.
Well, to be fair, I guess when I watch Bite's stream and War stream, Flip just kind of fades into the background because you have a lot of like attitude and ego on this team, and then there's cute little Flip in the background just talking barely English. So he does kind of fade into the background a little bit.
Well, the people have spoken, and that's what they have to say about the Premiership debut. We'll jump into the upcoming talent of the season award, and I think the 3 nominees were Captain, who I don't even know, I'm sorry, Buttnose, and Zen from Lego. Thoughts? Who did you vote for?
I didn't vote. I don't know them. Mixes, but I don't know the others.
I think I voted for Buttnose, but it was because he's the only one of them I've actually seen play. I think I've seen some of Captain's frag videos and they were pretty decent, but it's not like I'm going to base a vote on that. So I guess I voted for Buttnose, but I don't know why. Whatever.
Yeah, I voted for Zen, the Lego scout, just because he was a total unknown. Had a little bit of excitement seeing him progress in Division 1. I think he played well. I like that Lego team, were excellent. maybe he's just riding on their glory, but that's who I voted for. And I'll just jump straight to the punchline and tell you that's who the people voted for as well. Zen wins it with 30% of the vote. Captain on 20 and Butnose on 20. Only 3 votes separating those two. So.
Oh, Zen is in Lego?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I know that guy. I should have voted for Zen. My bad.
One thing I will say is that this was the least nominated category in terms of the Premiership players who voted. Only 22 participated in these nominations. Zen had 5. Nuck had 3 nominations. Hellberg. Oh, I didn't read out all the nominees. I'm an idiot. Hellberg and Nuck were in there too. They had 3 and 2 nominations respectively. But they, let me see. Hellberg got and Nuck got 10% as it turned out. Wow, I suck as a host.
It's kind of weird that this is Prem nominated, considering I think most of the people in Prem probably don't know that much about upcoming talent.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them they only play with other Prem people a lot of the time. Not necessarily because they're like egos or whatever, they just don't come across other people. I think maybe, I don't know, it seems like you should probably ask Div 1 players for nominations for this category as well, because I think that's where the upcoming talent actually is. Or maybe if you just scrap this category altogether and just say Div 1 player of the season.
Or if this was like a publicly nominated one on the forums, perhaps. I don't know, or is that a circle jerk too?
It becomes really circle jerky. I don't know. I think like a Div 1 player of the season will be better than upcoming player. But then again, maybe there's an upcoming player in Div 2. It's a weird one. I don't think there's an ideal solution.
Yeah, I remember Ips mentioning to me one day, many weeks and months ago, just a random comment this, but he was telling me that Stefan didn't even know who Elemental Violence were, like a team who'd been floating around Division 1 and 2 for season after season. And he was like, who are these guys? So it seems to be like, maybe that's just exclusive to Epsilon, but there are definitely Premiership players who do not look down from their ivory tower. They don't know anything that's going on down there, but
I think that's quite an extreme. That's quite an extreme one.
Nah, that's also Stefan in a nutshell, though. Like, he chose a place and then they're gone into the German community public server again. So it would not surprise me if he wouldn't know who huhy is or someone like this.
Division 1 was actually really good this season. Just see Blagout Gaming TV saying that in the chat. It was enjoyable to cast the games and it seemed like a pretty close fight. But Lego came out ahead and so has Zen in this vote. We'll jump now to there's only 2 left. Let me see. Player of the season and caster of the season. Oh, close to my heart. I think player of the season is the big one, right? So we'll go straight into caster this season. I'm going to close my eyes and click here and open my eyes. Ugh. Tell me, guys, who did you vote for caster of the season?
Caster? Oh, myself.
God,
I clearly deserve that.
I'll tell you who
Sean
the options
Beasley
were.
and you, because you both suck donkey dicks. No, I think I voted for myself, but just for the purpose of still being in there. I think you're gonna make it, and Sean should be on second because you both together were gold. Reminded me of the good old DJC Admirable cast, but yeah. Go on.
Yeah, I'll just read out all the nominees here actually, because there was a few people missing there. I was surprised by it. I don't know how this was decided, but anyway, the full selection you could have voted for was Ryushi, Scully, Connor, Beasley, myself, Ips, Mirlin, and Mia. I mean, there was other people that cast it. Pledge cast it a game or two. You had Joker and casted, even Retshot cast it a few games, but they weren't even shortlisted. And there's probably loads of people I'm forgetting as well, but there were a lot of different casters this season stepping up, and I would have been interested to see how the vote split. Kaidus, who did you vote for before I announce it?
I think I actually voted for Ryushi. I don't think he's like probably the best caster on that list. But he was always, I didn't watch as many casts this season as I would have liked, but whenever I did watch one, he always seemed to be there. And whenever I played a game and came for an interview after or whatever, it was always Ryushi there, like holding down the fort, especially when he gets like ditched by his co-casters after they invite me for an interview. and it's just Ryushi left there alone trying to make it work. So I think he put in quite a lot of effort, and he was pretty good. Like, you know, he has a good voice. He can speak fluently, which puts him head and shoulders above most of the other people on that list. So yeah, I went for Ryushi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely voted for myself in the past, but this season, that was the time Pledge was campaigning for votes. I had to vote for myself, sorry. But this season, it was really a toss-up for me between Ips and Beasley. I thought Beasley was the most entertaining, and Ips was the most insightful. And I ended up going for Beasley, you know, because fuck Ips.
Yeah, fuck me.
But tell you the result first, and I'll tell you some more thoughts from me. And I can tell you as well, Sonny says every caster had to cast at least 2 matches if they were going to be eligible in English. But I've won it. Yeah, you know it.
Nice.
47%. Ips on 15%. And Merlin in sneaking in there, surprise, casted some games for Blight. Merlin on 12% of the public vote there.
Sick.
And that's the way it breaks down. But
that's surprising. When did he cast more than 1 or 2 games? Well, he must have.
Yeah, he definitely did. Yeah, I never got to cast one though. I was interested to, but it didn't happen. He only cast it for Blackout.
And I think like people just don't know Beasley enough in Europe to judge that a bit. I think if he continues casting that, we're going to shift in a whole different direction as well. Like he's going to be underneath you soon.
I've got the rest of the votes here as well. So Merlin on 12% in third, then Mia in fourth on 8%, Beasley on 5%, Ryushi on 4%, Scully on 3.5%, Connor on 2%. That's how it broke out. Maybe we'll see that on the site, but I'm gonna say something and it might sound dickish, but at the time I was talking to ETF2L admins about running the award show just in the last few days. I was thinking of like why I shouldn't be in the run-ins or whatever. Like I was interested to see who was sort of upcoming caster of this season, and I guess that would have been you, Ips, but I don't know how the vote would have split for me. But that was just going in my mind. Then I got scared and I thought, man, Beasley and Ips are pretty good. I might lose. Fuck those guys.
Nah, we should get them maybe contesting you, but yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. Yeah. It should be you two together. There should be like a casting combo thing again, like people just getting together, forming some synergy, and then they just really just cast together, so we don't end up with like Alba and Ryushi on a cast or something like this. It's going to be like an Arcs and Beta format, just with 4 different Arcs and Betas. I would love to see that actually happening. Do you know what I mean? You get this kind of idea? I don't know.
Yeah,
just people watching games together and getting some kind of casting flow. And then they go out there in the big casting world and cast together. Because we ended up, a lot of the times, we ended up having like last minute casting solutions, if you recall that. That really ended up being anticlimactic to watch, to be fair. Like, I didn't enjoy a lot of the casts that were made.
Yeah, actually, and I'm just fucking banging on, but at the start of the season I really tried to bring in as many new faces as possible, because obviously there was a big shortfall in output there with Pledge stepping back from the scene, and I think we've seen a lot of potential this season. I hope to see more people stepping up to the mic next season, and if you're interested at all in casting, just message me on Steam. I will cast with anybody. Literally, I even cast with Ips, and I always beg Kaidus to cast as well, but he's too busy playing, the keen bastard.
So much gaming.
Sleeping.
Merlin, if you're listening, let's cast sometime, buddy. But enough of this shit. Let's move on to
player of the season.
Player of the season, the one that counts, the one everybody wants to win. And I think, as it turned out, from the nominations, the top 3 were Shocky, Mike, and Nox. So tell me, who did you vote for and why? Ips?
Mike, cause he's just the best player in Europe, easily, by like a mile. And Stefan, I didn't feel... Stefan was the second one, right? Or the third one, doesn't matter. Was it Stefan in the nominations?
That wasn't in any particular order. But in terms of nominations, I'll spoil it for you. What's the order? Mike was 14 votes, Stefan was 5 votes, and Nox was 4.
Yeah, so Stefan was second. Yeah, I don't know. Stefan, I don't know. He just won too much for me. Like I just and that would go for Mike as well. But I still biased as I'm still a soldier. He's just the best at his class, and the best player in the team. It doesn't matter if he's not calling and someone else is calling for him. Kid is still hitting all the shots and still delivering. So I voted for him, and yeah.
Kaidus,
It's Mike. It's always been Mike.
did you vote for him?
Probably didn't vote on this one because I don't know. I just skim read the votes. But if I did vote, it would have been Mike.
Why did I get you in this show? You didn't even vote for any of these things. God damn it.
Well, I was away all week. I did it quickly.
Yeah, I actually voted for Stefan. I thought he put in more consistent performances this season than Mike, or maybe he just stood out to me. I don't know why. I haven't really had a good reason for any of my votes thus far. I'm not going to start now. But I can tell you that you guys nailed it. Mike with 44% of the vote takes it. Player of the season. Shocky there on 28%, and Knox not far behind him on 27%. Just 12 votes separating Knox and Shocky.
After throwing everyone's anticipated finals like this, that is really surprising.
Come on, man. There's a lot of love in ETF2L for Knox. He even has an award named after him. Like,
that they were thinking about taking away again because he continued playing. Yeah, I know. It's just a bit weird that people are anticipating just one match because they know everything else is going to be Super 8s, and then you don't give a shit, and still people think that you're the most valuable player on the team.
We've already heard your thoughts, both of you, on Mike, that he's just the best, but something Kaidus mentioned before, like about how Demoman was such a closely contested award year after year. Is it just that Mike is far and away the best soldier? Is that why he stands out as a player of the season, or did he have a particularly good season?
No, I don't think he had a particularly good one. At least, no, because he's had some amazing ones. Like, well, I don't know. What stuck out for me was when I played Epsilon this season. When I saw them play, Mike was one who just didn't seem to decline at all, like through not playing as much with his team. Like, I found Stefan and Bash to be more manageable, still completely unmanageable, mind you, but more manageable than they were in their team's prime.
Yeah.
Whereas Mike stayed just as impossible to do anything against as he always was. So, like, in previous seasons, it would have been harder for me to choose between Stefan and Mike, or Bash and Mike, whichever of those two scouts made it in this vote. But this time, it's Mike, without a doubt.
I agree.
Yeah, just Epsilon weren't necessarily put to task this season. Like, no offense to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, but like, you were the only team close to competing with them, and it probably wasn't as tough for them as the previous season when it was Broder on the scene, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's like, it seems like we have some reservation saying that all the nominating these Epsilon players, like, even though they're still the best, it's like they didn't have to put a sweat on this season to earn these awards. It's sort of like
gifted,
a hollow victory, but they are the best. And that brings me on to
this is why I also disagreed with any other decision before that in the other awards, like that when you didn't give the Epsilon players.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
The awards, exactly.
But the updated medal count, then, this is the last part of the awards segment at least. Shocky picking up one award there brings him up to a grand total of 12 medals. He is the current, he was previously to this awards, but he's still the all-time greatest medal winner on ETF2L. Mike now jumps up to 9 medals. He's still in second. Oh, he's still in second place. He had beat Xerox last season. And Kaidus, you're now tied with Xerox on 6 medals each. So you're now the third greatest player in ETF2L history. How does it feel, buddy?
Wow. That was absolutely sensational, and I could not have picked a better season in which to hit this note.
And you You need to get 6 more medals if you want to tie with Shockey. So that's like 6 more seasons of play, or 3 seasons where you win both Demoman and Player of the Season. Do you feel you can do it?
Yep, easy. I'm gonna do it from Div 1 next season. I'll get upcoming player again.
Nice.
Oh, I see my name is in this list as well, but I've never actually won a medal for playing TF2, only for talking shit about it. So I'll just score that out there. But what I wanted to go into then was, I suppose I mentioned it before, just like the unsung heroes. I said Gentleman John, Phoenix, Blackout John. Is anybody else like this season, or that has made the season for you, not necessarily playing, or anyone you think at all that deserves credit? Now is the time to shout their names out, let them be heard.
Sonny Black. Even though,
yeah, that's a good one actually.
I think
that's a good one.
We were all very. There was there were 2 different parts in the ETF2L community when our ESEA journey started in Europe, and there were people really cheering for it and a lot of people really cheering against that. And he obviously made the decision to work for ESEA, and I think then when people actually found out how big this whole Bitcoin thing is and what an image damage that essentially meant for ESEA as a brand, advertising it here in Europe, I think he still did a very outstanding job just keeping it going, to be fair, and not like just throwing that away or just being consistent in a good admin work, you know what I mean? Like he was still around answering questions and running the league there. On the other hand, getting a lot of shit by people who didn't really know a lot about ESEA. Do you remember the ETF2L forums made by Angel, in which he said like Sony is just providing 2 servers in ESEA, like completely random shit all the time.
That was a really strange decision by Sony, to be fair.
Yeah, it's his, like, he's running this thing. I don't know. The guy just deserves credit. He's still doing his stuff out there, and he made it very enjoyable to play this season. And obviously, everyone that wrote like articles, I have to say it, even if I sound like the Grinch again, that close to Christmas, I was really disappointed with the articles written by Vanilla, not by John's. John's articles were great, even though I got my shit there, but he wrote good articles, but like the articles surrounding the season and creating hype for the matches were really, really poor. Like I rarely saw some being created, and I even wrote in the comment section of Vanilla that the small articles or the small 5-liners on ETF2L are now better than their articles. Do you remember what I mean? Like the ones for the finals, like there were no articles. I was just bothered with that. Luriette, or whatever his name is, from ETF2L, wrote like a great summary of the season and a great article just for ETF2L, and nobody really looked at the ETF2L news section because the site just doesn't work like that. It's just not designed that way, but it was still better than the written content on Vanilla most of the time.
Yeah, I wanted to agree with that. So mention Laurette's name, if I can pronounce that right, but he has been one of the most consistent contributors, and nobody seems to read ETF2L's news posts. That's sad.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kaidus, sorry.
I was going to say, it seems like Vanilla should just stop bothering writing articles. Like, if the ETF2L ones are better, why don't they just advertise the ETF2L article rather than try to write their own?
I posted the ETF2L article under the Vanilla ones, so people would actually have a clue. And also, it was so weird. Like this season, people would not bother to post announcements on Reddit and stuff, and I showed up 5 minutes before a cast and still posted the stuff on Reddit, and it really is not my job. We have people in staffs on the league and on the casting sites or whatever to do that, and this season people really gave up a bit. I think it's this winter season, people really can't be bothered, and it was a bit obvious from the beginning who's going to be first, and there was no Broder anymore and whatever, but I still think we can't allow ourselves to be lacking the quality of our content, because that would mean that we're degenerating as a game, you know what I mean? As a gaming community.
It was just a super underwhelming season, overall, to be honest. The winter season is always a bit dodgy. Last winter was a little bit better because we got our asses handed to us by the Yanks previous, like just before it, so everyone was like inspired to get better. But these winter seasons, like everyone goes like 300% for the Samurai series, like including all like the writers and casters and cameramen and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like they drain themselves out, and then it's like a week later there's a season. They have to, motivate themselves for some season that they know is going to be god awful compared to what they're used to anyway, especially this one. So it's kind of like, yeah, that sucks. But I think next season it'll be better.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope the people that did a good job this season can inspire some of the ones that were a bit laid back. Yeah,
I think
we can make it a good season like in spring.
In terms of vanilla TF2 content, like I know Vanilla TV use news posts just as their way to announce the cast, so I'm not sure if that's like comparable to like a hype post about the cast, like because it's on teamfortress.tv, it's just like a little paragraph in the event section. It's the same sort of idea, but maybe it's just like that's being that effect's being magnified because there's like a lack of other content on Vanilla TF2 apart from John's articles and the occasional sort of short gossip post. I think it's just like there's a lack of content or a lack of volunteers out there who are interested in writing or prepared to write.
I heard Byte talking about it to War when War was mentioning just this little numbers of content being produced at that time, and Byte said that it really just comes down to people not being willing to contribute. And I mean, yeah, that's a bit sad and a bit weird to see as well, because of if you want to be the head of Team Fortress TV of Vanilla, right? Like, then take 30 minutes off your MVM tour of duty or whatever you're doing there all night and write that article for the next 2 days. Otherwise, your site is just getting redundant. Like, that's the way I felt, and I don't want like the latest tone of all the content that is being produced really delivers some sort of like the image of a tabloid press to me. You know, like it's always okay. This gossip is happening and that is happening. It's really not. I don't know. There's Huh?
It's become like a really confused concept, because the actual website Vanilla TF2, it started out was supposed to be this like open submission, anyone can write what they want. But then VTV came in and like with their stream, and they were like the lead streamers of Europe and stuff, so everyone saw this as this big brand. So kind of from there, like the extra people committing like their own articles to it dried out, because VTV were actually doing a good job at that point. And then VTV just declined massively, so now you're left with this site that everyone seems to think is VTV's site, but it's not. It's supposed to be like an open contribution place, but it's not that either anymore, because
of the branding.
It's just become completely confused, and it's kind of redundant now with TFTV anyway. Like Gentleman John's articles, I don't know why is he putting them on VTV? Just put them on TFTV. I don't really understand the point of it anymore.
It's so good. I mean, I've talked about this before. It's very dangerous content as well, because I don't want people to care too much about stats, as I also didn't want people to care too much about MGE. Otherwise, you end up having soldiers really just standing around on Gully Wash, Big Door, and spamming over point to get some chipping damage, or War calling himself the best demo with the highest damage output or whatever. But it's necessary content for some people to understand the game and understand dynamics behind teams and whatnot. So it's really, really good. Yeah. But it's so lost there. Like, you're preaching completely to the choir. You have the circle jerk of Vanilla TV article readers already just come in there. And do you remember telling me about the article number, James? And I didn't even have a clue that it was posted there or something like this. I found out about the article like 2 weeks after it got posted, and I had to scroll down like 4 pages or whatnot to find it. And
what article?
Some wonkers against Epsilon stats, like TF2 by the numbers articles. That's something just recently. And that's sad, because that's the highest value of TF2 content created at the moment on both continents. Like, that's the highest content. Like, no one in America is doing that thing that he does, and he's doing it for a site that is not really that important at the moment. So I really want that guy to talk to the TFTV guys if that is possible. Yeah,
it should be like the greatest like supplementary articles to a season that there's ever been. Like, but it's become like the only actual like journalism surrounding it, so it kind of annoys me, because stats aren't as important as people would get the impression based on reading these, because they're like the only articles. So
exactly. I know what you mean.
Like, for me, it makes them harder to appreciate than they should be, because it's just like they're just alone.
exactly. You think because they're so alone that they're most important thing overall, right, after the season or whatever. But it should just be on TFTV together with the article about the games and whatever. So it's a thing you have accessible on the site basically for people that can consume this kind of information, if you know, or digest. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I hate to be, or I don't want it to appear that we're bashing on vanilla, because there has been obviously that delightful Team Fortress TV versus vanilla thing that was going on in the lead up to A49. But I hope they come back because the competition was good. I hope that they were just burnt out after LAN and things get underway again next season. Shout out to Ari, of course. Who
I want to say that, by the way. I want to say that I really hope that vanilla is coming back, because Team Fortress TV is also just following their own agenda. Like when our ETF2L second place matches are happening, they start some Zoe Cup or whatever, so we get like 150 viewers on our second place matches. I don't want that to happen.
Come on, man.
No, I don't want that to happen. If America's last...
Well, that cup was scheduled months before the ETF2L final was like, so...
No, that's
not They could have scheduled it an hour later, though. I mean, it was done by like... it was like done by early evening in America. There was no need for it to be so early.
That's what I'm saying. It's like there needs to be competition. There needs to be then a vanilla stream or whatever that gets their subscriber base on there, because you were refused, and that happened, James. You were refused to cast on Team Fortress TV second account. So all we got in the end was the Blackout TV thing, and we got like 50, 60, 100 viewers in the end, which wouldn't have happened, I think, if vanilla would have casted. No.
Yeah, I had an argument, or a slight debate with Ryushi and John that we should have casted that one for vanilla anyway, but we went with Blackout, and whatever, that's the way it ended up. But
we just need black and white. We need competition, and that's good. But if vanilla just doesn't contribute now, that's going to be dangerous, because I don't just want this one thing to be there.
Let's jump to a look, maybe quickly discuss ESEA and will anything happen next season. Because I was going to write, like at the start of the season, I really wanted to get behind ESEA and promote it as much as possible. But like after a few weeks, it seemed like I was already down in hours and I lost any motivation to do so. Then I was going to do an article just to wrap up like why it sort of failed. And at that point came out the verdict from the court case, and that just seemed to be like flogging a dead horse to me. So I didn't write anything on that. But now that the dust has settled, does anyone think there's going to be a second season of ESEA in Europe? I read a comment from Byte saying he'd be prepared to sponsor 2 teams next season. Are you guys going to play? What the hell's happening?
If there was a season and it was like the other teams were going to sign up, I would still sign up to it. I still think it's at least it could be like a good league. I was kind of confused by how ready America was to give up on it. I mean, I know they did some pretty bad things, but like I don't see I don't know, I think they're taking their principles to heart a bit too much, like in terms of for the TF2 scene. Like America's not leaving ESEA for the sake of the TF2 scene, they're doing it because they have these weird like American freedom principles. Well, that's weird, but they take it to heart like a lot more than Europe seems to. Like I'd be ready to give it another go, but it kind of requires everyone to do the same, and if only some people are doing it, then it's just a massive waste of time.
But that shit also did, like the whole stuff that is giving ESEA a bad reputation also didn't affect us. So maybe we would talk different about ESEA if we would have been affected. You know?
Yeah, I don't really feel one way or the other at the minute. Like last season, I was interested to see if it would work, but I guess we'll find out in due course. Like the finals or the playoffs are still to be played in January, right? Or after Christmas. So yeah. I guess we'll see what happens there. One thing
really
I'll ask... Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, it was really unfortunate how it worked out for ESEA, because the season ended up like, it got delayed, and then it got postponed, and then it got delayed, and it got postponed. And for Europe, the only way ESEA can be a success is if it's treated like as the main league. I remember like right at the start of the season, like when IBS we were still infused, we still had IBS, like we kind of said like ESEA is going to be our priority, but then it turned into such a shit fest that like, and then obviously IBS, blah 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 blah, like, and then our motivation changed, and we just were playing ETF2L. Like we had to talk Nox into even playing it, but the only way it could work is if it's taken as a priority, because they're not going to stay like, they're not going to be like, oh okay, ETF2L, this is how like European TF2 is structured, so we'll change our schedule for you. Like we have to fit to their schedule. So it has to be kind of taken as the priority for it to ever work. Because teams do fold at the end of the ETF2L season at the moment, and it means the playoffs get messed up. Like, it was very, very rare even that our seasons were so in sync, so it was super lucky to begin with. But then they got knocked slightly out of sync, and it was back to how it would have been if we tried it any other season. So as long as it's kind of on the back burner and not like the priority, it's not really going to work. Which was also why like Acid Renix, like Wall of Text pissed me off quite a lot, because there was some content to what he said. It was like some of it was correct, but by like spreading this much negativity about it, it made people feel silly for taking it seriously, I felt, which in the end meant it would fail. It was like destined to fail, because like it has to be taken seriously for it to work. And when you spread that kind of negative press about it, it like makes people not want to take it as seriously, if you know what I mean.
Just a quick flash poll here. Would you pay to play in ETF2L? Like, if you had an opportunity to like put money into a prize pool in the Prem, would that work for you? I know ETF2L have.
Maybe, like if it depends how much, and I would need to see the math, I guess, because
that was the ARC's idea, you know.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of money, like, because it's like I think ESCA was quite popular because there was this dream of like getting like an international LAN or whatever out of it. Like that was kind of what was like the tipping point on it. But like money, it has to be a lot of money for it to actually matter in this game. Like, what is it, 500 euros for first place? Like if you quadrupled that and it was 2,000 for first place, you'd still barely care. You know what I mean? It would have to be a lot of money for like, because it's like it's so far away from being enough money for you to like care that much about. So it's like the LAN that really makes ESCA so successful in America, not really the fact they have a bit more money than us. Like the money alone is pretty much useless.
Let's consider the teams for next season 17 of ETF2L I'm talking about anyway. Beyond this ESCA playoff and grand final, what are your plans, kaidus?
At the moment my plans are see if any offer comes my way that's worth playing in Prem with, because like Prem's like, it's a lot of stress to play. Like it's either really bad, like either you don't take it seriously and it's really boring, like this season is like the most boring season ever. I think everyone was just so happy when it ended, and I don't want another season like that ever again. I want to be like in a team that's keen, even if I'm not that good, like nice guys keen. So if a team like that comes my way, then I'll play. Otherwise I'll be in Did I Stutter in Div 1.
Ips, tell us your plans for the future.
Taking the Germans of EPSI and maybe make a team with them. Depends a bit if Stefan wants to play Scout for that team or play Soldier in Division 4 with his online girlfriend Melle. If she's not going to play, I don't think we're going to make that team because, yeah, not going to settle down further. What do you mean?
How come you wouldn't make it with another German Scout?
I don't think there is one to replace Stefan, really.
But like do you? I don't understand why you wouldn't.
Because like with Stefan and Bash and Gear behind, I think it would be a lot less effort than with any other. And this team, for me personally, because of the stuff that is going to happen to me very, very soon, it would have to be a team that is really low maintenance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see, that makes sense.
So with anyone else, it would be not low maintenance, and you would have to go through stuff. And I also don't see a scout out there at the moment looking for a team.
So I was going to say, you could probably have a good shot of winning it with like a different scout. But yeah, that makes sense when you put it like that.
We will see. That's at least a plan. Yeah. That's what we're going to do. It's obviously, for me, just a time factor because of the babies and stuff. And for them, it's a matter of motivation. Like, I was very glad that I just played half of the season because it was such an AIDS fest. And with so little people actually caring about winning, like it's so, it just winds me up so much. I always was so annoyed when I had people around me not caring about improving as a team or winning at all, and being satisfied with winning because you're second by default or first by default or third by default or whatever. That I just decided for myself after that fallout with Infused that it's not worth it for me to just get worn up with people I don't want to play TF2 with. So it's either these guys because they're on the same mindset level and they will carry my fat ass and make me win ETF2L or no TF2 at all.
Sort of like in hindsight, this season was a transitional one where we saw a lot of new players coming into the Premiership for the first time. and the sort of slow death of Epsilon, or their death of their interest in the game, at least for some of the players in the team. But like, as it seems, next season is going to be like wide open, perhaps one of the most competitive seasons, depending on how well or how much tiny Germans want to commit to the game. But in terms of other teams that I've heard of are going to play, there's the Swedish team of Zebesai featuring, who's on that roster?
Rip, Demoman, Tunets Medic, Walters Beaven Scout, Zebesai, Pocket Soldier. Knudsen was. They talked about Knudsen coming back for Roaming Soldier, and Twig on the backup slot. And then I asked Twig why they don't just play with him on Roaming, because Twig would be much better Roaming decision, I think. Obviously, Knudsen hasn't played forever, and Twig in general is just above his skill. But I don't think Twig is actually interested in TF2. He's really keen on CSGO at the moment, so we will see.
Any other team with TCM, I guess, the last resort?
Some semi-keen Frenchy team that will just start sucking throughout half the season. And
yeah, I heard those guys were going to keen it up next season. They are seeing the death of Epsilon as their chance to go for gold. Are you scared of the French?
Who?
Are you scared?
No.
Okay. They might actually keen it up. I know some of their players were.
They have Captain Hex in their team. It can't work.
Oh, rude. We'll not elaborate on that in this show anyway. Can anyone tell me I know Roberto folded. What's happening with Deserto, Hildreth?
Deserto are getting a replacement, I think, for Sideshow and Furbo.
Oh, wow.
But they're staying together apart from that, I think. TLR, I think, are staying together.
I know there was some notion that Evilman mightn't be available next season, so they might change Medic. I don't know what the latest on that is. I have no idea how they feel about Nadir's performance this season ever. What's happened to Cause We Can?
Fold. Beaven and Walters to the Zebesai team, and someone else there. I don't know what Brieger's doing. Brieger's
Lego are going to step
potential demo with 2 others for the German team, but I don't know what the rest is doing.
Lego to step up to Premiership next season. They could be playoff contenders from what we've seen in Div 1.
I've only played them once, and I don't know if they had a bad day or not, but I wasn't anywhere near as impressed as I thought I would be. But maybe it was just a bad day. But I like them. I like Lego because they seem to have a good attitude.
Yeah.
They're quite level-headed, quite committed. So I think even maybe if in this one PCW or whatever they weren't that great, they were like the type of team. Like it really doesn't take that much more than a good attitude and a bit of effort to be able to compete in Prem if you have decent players. And they seem to have some players, or at least players with the right stuff to become decent players. So they should be like, yeah, maybe, depends.
Then you got a handful of teams there in Division 1, like MIPC finished second. I think they were like a point ahead of Phoenix. You could see those teams laying claim to a spot in the Prem. Then you've even got like, I guess Saints if they come back with a new roster, or 425, the Russian team. I suppose this would be a good opportunity for me to remind the ETF2L admins that I would love to see them add an extra week to the schedule where we can have a proper playoff. Please. Rather than this bizarre admin decisions that saw Sonny Black place his own team as the team to beat in the Division 1 playoffs before they lost to 425. Shout out to Sonny.
It's just ridiculous. It's been like 4 or 5 seasons now since like the entire world has insisted there should be playoffs. ETF are like, no, there's no time. So yeah, surely this is time.
Did I stutter? I was pushing them to make a play for Prem last season, but they weren't interested, and they finished like mid-table in Div 1. Did they have the motivation to play in the Premiership? You said that's the team you might have playing for, Kaidus?
Yeah, like. Would
you want to go Prem if you were playing for them?
I don't know. For them, probably not. I think we could. I say we. If I end up joining, we could probably do okay, but I don't think they ever would. I don't think they have the players that would enjoy it that much. I think they like to keep it a bit more chill than that, even though, depending on team's form, I think they could probably do okay. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I'll end up there yet. I'd really like to play Prem this season, but there's no teams.
Well,
I'm kind of fun making like these like these teams that I've made in the past. Where I just made it just so I could be in Prem.
it's always going to happen just after this, at the start of January, I guess. I don't know the actual schedule. Hopefully ETF2L will get some information up on that soon enough. But we'll not go too much further into this because, geez, it could be a whole other show about what's going to happen next season. I'm sure someone will write articles.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of looking forward to next season, during the middle of this season, I was thinking this was doom and gloom, the end of TF2. Then I heard that there wouldn't be the same prize money next season because Blackout are finished with that. But really, I think just the sort of competition is what's going to keep it going. People will play because they want to play.
Also, that's also a factor for the FC kids that if the prize pool decreases too much, they're not going to continue to play TF2 until I-52. Because Epsilon, I don't know if a league here or anything, but plan is to reassemble for I-52 if an American or international team comes over once again.
That's the thing about this season. It doesn't even matter if this season ends up sucking because the season after is like the last season before LAN. So, like, it's the only event of the year that really. Well, no, as in, if this season coming, season 17 sucks, then it doesn't matter because the next season everyone's mind will be on LAN again. So it will pick up just because LAN's like the only thing worth doing in this game.
But ETF2L have enough money in the bank to keep up the prize pool as it was this season for one more season. So
how will they fund the admin of the month or what?
That's not happening for a while, bro. That's not a thing.
Okay.
So yeah, that's I mean, I hope it's not going to happen. I hope ETF2L is not going to dry up prize pool wise to the point where the people that really played for the sake of winning and competing against the people that are taking the potential money off them can't be bothered anymore. And they actually start to make like a team surrounding PR and getting like deals and whatever. But I think I heard some rumors that there's something in the making. I can't. Yeah, you know how it is.
Quality input.
Is it Nike again?
No, it's not Nike. Fuck that.
It's
Foot Locker this time.
I'd investigated the possibility of making like ETF2L TV to see if that would be something that would add value to the brand or a way to get money. But like talking to people like Enigma and whatever, it seems like there isn't really any money to be had. Or I can't speak for ETF2L. It just seems like there's going to be a big shortfall this season, and it's going to be hard to make up without the generosity of somebody like Russian Guyevich. I mean Blackout Gaming, but
oh, this retard Angel.
But I'm still positive that the next season is going to be very entertaining, and I hope to cast then as well.
Well, someone else is going to win ETF12 finally after a while, but it's going to be a bit of sweet taste to that victory. Because you just won without defeating the champion. Because the champion just ran away. Took a break.
I'm trying to leave
all
a
the
positive
defeating.
note here.
No,
for
don't
fuck's
do it.
sake. It's going to be a great
Christmas
season
time.
next season, guys.
It's
Kaidus
Christmas
is going to
soon,
get a
guys.
team. He's going to win the league. Everybody vote for Kaidus Player of the Season next season.
Wow. For me, caster of the season.
We're going to get a new award in there. Father of the Season.
Oh, wow.
You'll be in there against... what do you call that guy that used to do? Fuck, it's
Mini
lost.
Wheat?
Oh, Fish.
Oh, Fish. Oh, no, that guy. Yeah, we can do that, but tomorrow at the same time we can talk about the Father Awards already.
Yeah, so thanks. Huhy really wants to go to bed, that's why I'm trying to wrap this up. I'd gladly talk shit for the rest of the night. But thanks for coming along, Ips, Kaidus, and huhy. We didn't have the cameras, and I had a great Christmas sweater on, a picture in to chat there, That's what you could have been watching tonight. But
wow, you're so cute.
But final thoughts. I'll leave the floor open.
I love you all.
Kaidus, any season's greetings?
I'm laughing at this photo. I don't know what you said. See you, everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We'll see you in season 17.
Bye.